what are the kinds of gifts that you should make? I've been reading a lot, preparing not only for my clients but also this presentation, and wanting to find out what are people doing. Some of them are obvious, but others maybe not so much. So these are the things that people are doing with this exemption at this point. Number one, the first thing they're thinking about is fixing or terminating existing outstanding transactions. So let's say you had a sale and effective grantor trust. You want to end it, you want to get the statute to run, you want it to be over. You might want to go ahead and use a gift to pay off that loan, for example. But any transaction that's out there that makes you nervous, let's get it over with. Let's use the gift exemption. Let's get it over with. One of the biggest ones that I see is business succession planning. You have these closely held businesses. You want to take them down next generation. This is an incredible opportunity to go ahead and get that done. So I guess the first theme is things that you would like to do that normally are not so easy because the exemption is only gift tax exemption is only $1 million. Now you got a shot to get it done a lot easier. Assist with non-traditional family planning, prevent future disharmony. What does that mean? Let's say that you have, a lot of our clients today, it's multiple marriages. This might be the second or third marriage, they have kids from prior marriages, and you don't want family dysfunction after you're gone. So maybe you go ahead and make some large gifts now, or buy a large life insurance policy, or do something now to take your kids off the table. We're going to take care of them so that when you pass away, you take care of your spouse, you don't get your kids and your spouse fighting with each other. So that can be very beneficial as well. Another, as I said, asset protection planning. When you transfer, to get asset protection planning for yourself, for your spouse, you need to do irrevocable trusts. And so you can go ahead and use that gifting ability to go ahead and do that. A lot of times you do asset protection planning, but not necessarily on a tax advantage basis. Well, now you can get the best of both worlds to some extent. This one I actually read about yesterday. If you have a non-citizen client who you're not sure if they're a U.S. domicile or not, if they're not a U.S. resident and not a U.S. domicile, they're not a U.S. person at all, we don't really care. But if they're not a U.S. citizen, they are a U.S. domicile, then the estate tax system applies to them. And a bunch of rules apply. And the article I read from an international tax expert was, this is a great opportunity to take advantage of, if you're not sure, because it's a factual question, are you a U.S. domicile or not, go ahead and make some transfers now, just in case they say you're a domicile. So go ahead and take advantage of that, so you don't have a big tax problem later. And then my last one is normal planning. So if you don't have one of these special situations, you don't have any outstanding transactions, you don't have the non-traditional family, we got to do something now, you don't have the business succession planning, what do we do? Well, we have two scenarios there. One is the client just wants to make a gift to the family. That's a beautiful thing. And normally, the client comes to you and says, I would like to make a gift to my family. And you say, okay, well, here's how we get it done. You can do it simple, outright gifts, gifts and trust, however they want to do it. To me, where all the action is not when the client comes to you and says, I'd like to give a gift, because that's going to be pretty easy. It's when we tell our clients, this exemption is a great thing. We need to at least consider taking advantage of it. How are we going to do that? And I kind of analogize it to family limited partnerships. If you have a family limited partnership with a great business purpose, they came to you and there's a great business purpose, it's easy. What happens if they come to you and you recommend that they do a family limited partnership? You've got to come up with a business purpose. It's a little bit more complex, a little bit more interesting to deal with, and there's a lot more issues that come up. So I guess who should do the gifting? Let's see what time we got here. Who should do the gifting? Well, there's different levels, and what I tell my clients is they have to decide, do they want to be conservative or more liberal? They want to say, well, if I'm going to have any estate tax at all, I want to start, do the best I can. But it's like, no, they could say, no, I think the exemption is going to be about $5 million each. Maybe if I'm over 20 million, 30 million, maybe I'll do this kind of stuff. But some people might want to do it if they're only worth, $8–10 million, and they won't maybe use the whole thing, but they'll start trying to lock in that exemption in case it goes down. And I will basically tell my client or ask my client, what do you think is going to happen? You can think it's going to be $1 million, the exemption, 3.5, 5 million. I'll tell them all the options, all the possibilities, and kind of let them decide what they feel comfortable doing. I have some clients who seriously believe it's going back to $1 million, and they want to be much more aggressive. I have other clients who think, nah, it's probably going to be about $5 million, so a little bit more liberal, and so they wouldn't do unless they were wealthier. So from my perspective, I think you should bring it up with all your clients, at least that are in that ballpark or higher,